Hello everyone. In this video, I'm going to cover basics of Python primitive data types, and I'm going to use this opportunity to talk about the most commonly used functions that we use on a daily basis in the Python coding. Hopefully, this video is going to be the most important parts of this handout. But just to make sure video doesn't get super long, I'm going to cover only the most important parts of this handout. However, I expect everyone to go over this handout, then watch the video, and then in class do the homework, and then in class I'm going to cover bits and pieces of this handout, just to make sure I do not forget um, any of the important topics. I'm going to talk about the statement, then the variable and identifiers, and all of these topics, but I'm going to try to be as fast as possible, right? So I'm hoping that this is going to help you, especially if you are new to Python. Hopefully this is going to help you. So let's start with statement. Statement determines an activity that needs to be done. It's very simple. You know what? 2 plus 3, this is one statement, right? If I run it, I'm going to get a result. Or here's another one. 2.1 minus 1.5. Here's another one, all right? So this is another statement. Here's another one. 9 bigger than 1. Is this statement correct? Well, true. So a statement determines something to be done, right? Usually in coding, it is necessary to assign names to values and then use them later. We are going to define variables. So this is how I'm going to define a variable. I'm going to say variable name, let's say var1 underscore 1 is equal to 10, right? With this is roughly speaking, this is what happens. I'm a little bit inaccurate. So especially if you are experienced coder in Python, you are going to notice that I might be a little bit inaccurate, but that's okay. Roughly speaking, what this does, it says, you know what, create a value 10 and assign name of var1 to that value 10. In other words, I'm binding value 10 to var underscore 1, right? So now I have a variable called var1 that every time that I want to use it, I can just simply say var1, and it's going to say, well, value of var1 is 10. Let me define one more. var2, you know what? I can redefine var1. var1, this time I'm going to define it as 8 and var2 equal to 5. By running this cell, I'm going to have two variables, var underscore 1 with value of 8 and the other one var underscore 2 with value of 5. Now I can work with them. For example, var1 plus var2, right? And that's going to give me 13. Right now, I don't have to write 8 plus 5. When I say var1 plus var2, because var1 is bound to 8 and var2 is bound to 5, Python is going to pull those values 8 and 5 and add them up and show the results. We use, there's this concept called identifier that sometimes it is mixed with variable. Identifier, just consider that as a name, right? Here I use var underscore 1, which is a name, to identify value of 8. All right. Identifier could be a name for a variable. It could be a name for a function or a class. Identifiers need to follow certain rules. You cannot use just any name that you want. Those rules that are in the handout, they are also listed here as well. I'm going to go over them very quickly here. You cannot, rule number 1, you cannot start an identifier or name for a variable with a digit. You cannot say 1 day is equal to 10, all right? If you run it, you're going to get error, that invalid syntax. 1 day, you cannot start variable's name with 1. Right? Another rule is that you cannot use a dash. What do I mean? So I can say my underscore name is equal to Naser. I can do that. All right, this is going to work. But if I say my dash name is equal to Naser, Python is not going to accept this. Python is going to say, you know what, that is a minus sign right there. I don't know value of I don't know value of name, and even if I do, this is not the right statement to that you can give to Python, right? You cannot use dash. That is one mistake that a lot of my students make, but it is very common, not just in Python, in a lot of coding languages, it is very common to use underscore, and you're going to see that I use underscore in coding, in handouts quite a lot, right? If I do that, error is gone, right? Another rule of valid identifiers is that you cannot use Python's reserved keywords. Your handout talks about, I believe, 3 different ways of, or at least 2 different ways of getting Python's reserved words. This is one of them. You can just, for time being, I know we haven't talked about import or any of these commands, but for time being, you can just follow me, and hopefully this is gonna help. Import keywords, I believe. Print keywords.kw list. I'm not sure if that's keyword or keywords, but we'll try it. Yep, there we go. There is no keywords. So let me try keyword, and there we go. All right. So these are with this specific spellings. They are reserved words, and you cannot assign values to these names. For example, if I say from equal to 15, right? Python is going to say, nope, you cannot do that. Why? Because from, as you see in the list, it is a reserved keyword for Python. You cannot do that. But Python is case sensitive. That from equal to 15 doesn't work. But if I say from equal to 15, now this one is going to work. Or if I say from equal to 15, that one is going to also work. But this is a very poor programming practice, so we will try to avoid any spelling of these reserved words. All right. So we talked about keywords, we talked about underscore, we talked about not starting with a digit. Identifier cannot contain special characters. For example, this is the example that I believe I've used in the handouts as well. Value at risk. Value at risk equal to 5. No, you cannot do that. Why? Because at is a special character. You cannot say fruit and meal is equal to good, right? Is it obvious that I haven't thought about the examples in advance, so I'm just making them up as we go. So this one is not going to work, all right, because of that there's a special character right there. Complete list of special characters are in your handout. So far what we have done, we have talked about a statement, we have talked about how we can assign one value to a variable, and that variable's name, that identifier, have certain rules, 4 important rules. It cannot start with a digit, cannot include dash, cannot include special characters, and it cannot include Python's reserved words. So far, we have talked about all of this. Let's see what else we have here to cover. Print command. Print command, I believe I used here. Yep, print right there. Print is a command that we are going to use probably most in this class, and everyone uses that. It is used for displaying an item or a group of items on a screen. For example, I believe we used var1, right? var1, we defined var1 somewhere. var1 right there. If I don't remember value of var1, there are several different ways of doing it. One of them is say, you know what, give me var1. It's going to say 8. That is Jupyter Lab. You can do that without even using print command. But another way of doing it is by print var1, right? And it's going to say the value is 8. Let me use a different kind of, let me define a variable and use print command for it. I'm going to define my name is equal to this, all right? And I'm going to say print my name, right? I define a variable, my name, and assign value of Naser to it, and then I say print it. Whatever you pass to print is going to be we are going to call that argument. All right, let me show you one very important, very convenient and fun way of using print command. Every time that you type print, you finish, the print displays the information on the screen and then goes to the next line. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to say print var1, all right, and then I'm going to say print nothing. All right, let's see what's going to happen, and then print my name, right? This is what's going to happen. It is going to show value of var1, which is 8. It's going to go to next line, all right, and then it's going to print nothing, but this print command is going to take you to the next line. So there's going to be an empty line that in the third line I'm going to type print my name, all right, and that's exactly what we are going to get. 8 empty line and Naser. This can be used for displaying better display of especially busy tables in on a screen. You can pass more than one argument to print command. For example, I'm going to write print hi, all right, comma. For the time being, we are going to separate values of inside the print with a comma. Later on, we can do other fancier stuff. But hi, welcome to this class. All right, and just to be a little bit, make it a little bit more fun, comma, hi. There we go. All right. Let's see what we get. Hi, exclamation mark, welcome to this class. Was it necessary? No, I could have just said print hi, welcome to this class. I would get the same thing, all right? But what is the point of separating these values with a comma? Well, here's the point. If again, we have defined var1 and var2, all right? I can say print sum of comma var1 comma and comma var2 comma is comma var1 plus var, we for the sake of yeah, it's fine, var1 plus var2. Let's see what we are gonna get. All right, so sum of is just what we are going to call a string. In a minute we are going to talk about that. It's just a text, comma var1 value is 8, so it's going to put 8 there, and it's just a text, it's going to put it right there. var2 is 5, is a text. var1 plus var2, this is first one is a number, second one is a number, value is 13, so it's going to show it right there, right? You see that sometimes that comma is necessary. There are so many different ways of including more than one argument in a print function, but we are going to get them one by one. All right. Now that we have seen we can use print function, let me go back up here and see what else we have. Now let's talk about primitive data types. Those primitive data types are right here in page, at least in this version, page 5 of your handout. Primitive data types. This handout is going to spend a lot of time on these data types. These are Python's fundamental data types: integer for integer values, float for numbers, numerical values with decimal points, str, which stands for string, is Python's text data type, and bool is Python's Boolean data type, yes, no, 0, 1, true, false data type. All right, so we are gonna experiment with them a little bit. So let me go all the way here. So we have defined them before, right? So var1, let's look at value of var1. It is 8, right? What type is it? Well, you can use type function, type of var1, and it's gonna say int. It's an integer, right? Int right there, right? Let me define another one. I'm gonna call var3 is equal to 3.14. right? And give me type of var3, and it's going to say it's float, right? Any number, any numerical value with decimal point, Python is going to store it and handle it like as a float number or floating point number. Next data type that we are going to talk about, and we are going to spend quite some time on it, is str, string, right? String is, let me call str1 is equal to first string, my first string, right? As you can see, when I'm defining string, I'm enclosing whatever value is inside two quotation marks, all right? Whatever is between those two quotations, Python is going to interpret that, okay, this is my text, and I'm going to just store it as is, all right? And if I say give me str1, it's going to say first string inside quotations. You can define a string with two single quotations. You can define it with two double quotations. Here's another one. str2 is equal to double quotations, right? Second string. Right? And if I say give me a str2, depending on version of Anaconda and the Jupyter, it might display it with one inside single quotations or double quotations. Let's see what we are going to get inside double and single quotations. All right. Nonetheless, they are not. They are. It's pretty much the same thing. All right. So you can create a string by including it inside two single quotations. You can create one by including inside two double quotations, or even this one, str another string is equal to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. Another string is equal to, this is also possible, right? And give me another string. It's gonna see I'm defining with by putting it inside triple single quotations. Still, when it displays with single quotation. All right. You can even define a string with by enclosing it inside triple double quotations. So here is, or let me be a little bit more. str3 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. str3 is equal to this is week 0, right? str3, and there you go. Now each of them have different uses, especially when using triple single quotation or triple double quotations are used for docstring and inside functions, or printing strings that are in more than one line, longer strings. But that one covered in your handout. I'm sure you can learn it yourself. Let me see. We talked about creating strings. Yes, creating strings. One thing that I want to show you, and I'm going a little bit ahead of myself, but that's okay. So let's look at str1. What is it? First string. Let's look at str2, second string, right? I can say give me str1 plus str2. This is known as a string concatenation. What's going to happen is that this is going to be a string that it's going to be string 1 followed by string 2, all right? It is going to be just one full, just one string. It's going to output one string, and you see that first string followed by second string, all right? Whatever is inside those quotations, Python is not going to interpret it as anything other than a string, all right? What do I mean by that? Here is what I mean. I'm going to say A1 is equal to 2, all right? A2 is equal to, let's call this 20, and this one is 30, all right? And if I say A1, give me A1 plus A2, Python is not going to say the answer is 50. because the Python does not treat this a1 as a number, it treats this as a string, as text. It is going to give me 20 followed by 30. All right, that's what we are going to get, 20, 30. It's just text. There are ways of, if you want to get a result of 50, you need to first convert a1 to integer or float, a2 to float or integer, and then add them up, right? But in this format, you are not going to get the calculation you want. Again, that was a short discussion about string concatenation, or combining or putting strings together, right? We talked a little bit about string. We are going to come back to this. And Boolean type is a data type that it takes only two values, right? True or false. Let me show you with one example, all right? Example 1, I'm defining another identifier, another variable. I'm going to assign the value of 10 bigger than 3, all right? So is 10 bigger than 3? Yes, it is. So example 1 is going to be true, all right? And if I want to see example 1, it's going to say it's true. Let me define another one. Example 2 is equal to, these parentheses are not necessary, but I'm using it for the sake of clarity, all right? 2 bigger than 3.14, all right? And example 2 is going to be false, right? If I want to see exactly what is the type of example 1 and example 2, let's take a look. Type of example 1 is Boolean, and type of example 2 is also Boolean, right? Boolean is a data type that takes only two values, true and false. True with capital T and false with capital F, all right? Let me go back and make sure I'm following the what I really wanted to cover in this video. Type function, we talked a little bit about. Type gives you the type of, at least for the time being, gives you type of that that variable or that number. Is it float? Is it integer? Is it str? Or is it Boolean? I believe we have covered everything except str. So let me just say type of, we had defined str1. Let me first get str1, make sure str1 is first string, all right? Give me type of str1, and it is gonna be str, right? So type function, we use this a lot, especially for debugging, to make sure that our variables that we define, they have the proper data type. We can use it easily to check type of different variables. All right, let me go back up here and see what else we have here. Build str. I showed you how we can build str with enclosing our string or text inside two single quotations or two double quotations, or inside two triple single quotations, or inside the two triple double quotations, all right? Then comments, all right, so this is very important. A lot of times, and this is going to become more and more important as we move forward in the semester, we need to explain to ourselves, communicate to ourselves and other people what we are doing in this piece of code, in this line of code, all right? We are going to leave some comments, some explanations in the code. That is all done by using sharp sign, right? Whatever follows after sharp sign, Python interpreter is not going to read it, is not going to interpret it. Okay, so this is our first comment. I define two variables here, or usually in comments we don't write full sentences, just hint. More than anything, it's a hint that what we are doing, especially when the code becomes a little bit more complicated, you Once you write the code, it makes sense at the moment, but once you come back 2 weeks later, a month later, you're like, what did I do here? So these comments help a lot. Not just you, also your friends, your TA and me. The comments will help you, will help us understand what you are trying to do, and if there's any mistake, we will that comments will help us provide useful feedback. All right. var1 is equal to 10, var2 is equal to 20, right? And if I run this, Python is going to ignore these two lines. Python interpreter is going to ignore these two lines, and it is going to read these two, right? It is going to assign value of 10 to var1 and value of 20 to var2. Let me see. You can leave as long comments, shorter comments. It is very important. You don't have to even have it in a separate line. You can leave it in front of code as well. So this is var1. Of course, this is obvious one. This is var2, right? This is gonna work as well. Let me go back up here. Oh, what did I do? All right. And, or, and, not. Okay. So I'm going to define, this goes back to Boolean data type. All right. There's a complete explanation in your handout. I'm going to just be quick here. I'm going to define var1. I'm redefining it is equal to 9 bigger than 5. All right. var2 is equal to 2 bigger than 10, right? Give me var1, it is going to be true. Give me var2, it is going to be false. I can use and, or, and not just to combine them. I can say var1 and var2. So when I use and, it is going to return true only if both sides of and are true. All right. So or both sides of them are false. I'm blanking right now. I'm gonna check that. All right. var1 and var2. This is going to definitely return false. Right. Let me define var3 to be equal to false. Ooh, false. Right. And see var2 and var3 is going to, this is false and false. This is going to return false. Okay, so and statement returns true. I apologize for that. It's getting late at night and I'm getting tired. And operator is going to return true only if both sides are true. Right? For example, right now var1 is true. Just to wrap up, var1 is true. Let me define var4 equal to true as well. All right. And if I say var1 and var4, it is going to return true. All right. And that is and. You can also define or. Let me get var1. It is true. var2 is false. Or statement is going to return false if only if both sides are false, right? In any other case, it is going to return true. var1 and var2 are, one of them is true, the other one is false. If I use or, it is going to return true. So if I say var1 or var2, it is going to return true, all right? And there is also another operator called not. So not is going to return false if the variable is true. It is going to return true if the variable is false, right? So var1, again, I'm gonna get it. It's true. If I say not var1, it is going to return false, right? var2 is false. If I say not var2, it is not var2 is going to var2 is false. Not var2 is going to be true, all right? All right, let me go all the way back here, and or not len function. All right, len and then iterables. Okay, len function. Let's go here. What happened? Oh, there we go. All right. Oh, len, as it's you can guess, it is going to return length of um, let's say for time being variable. All right, and specifically we are going to use it with strings. So what variables did we I believe we defined str1, right? So let's see if it's still there. Str1 is first string. So let's use len of str1. It is going to give me, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It is going to say, you know what, there are 12 characters inside those single quotations. How about str2? What did we have str2? We had second string. So let's get len of str2. 14. If you count number of characters, you are going to get 14 characters here, right? Again, we are going to use that quite a lot in following discussions. And this function len, it's not just used with string. It is used with collection data types such as lists. I'm going ahead of myself here, but for example, if I say list 1 is equal to apple, comma, banana, comma, grape. I'm having a hard time remembering name of fruits. Okay, give me len of list. List 1. It is going to give me 3. Right, list 1. Yep, it's going to say there are 3 elements in this inside these brackets. Right, len function is going to be used quite a lot moving forward in this course. I'm going to go a little bit again ahead of myself and talk about something known as iterables. Iterables are data types that you can, as the name suggests, iterate through members in that data type. What do I mean? So here's what I mean. So str1, let's see what it is again. It's a first string. Strings are iterables. What do I mean? I can access that f with index 0. That f is at index 0. I is at index 1. R is at index 2. S is at index 3, and so on and so forth. All right. So I can say, you know what, str1 gave me what is at index 0. Right. It is going to give me f. str1 give me what is at index 4. Let's see if we can guess it. All right. So index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is going to give us t. Right? Again, indices start with 0. It is going to give us t. All right. String is a iterable. You can access. You can iterate through characters of a string one by one. On top of that, again, I'm going ahead of myself. These lists that I defined, I put apple, banana, and grape inside these square brackets. This is also another iterable. List underscore 1 is iterable. I can access apple with index 0. I can access banana with index 1, and I can access grape with index 2. Let's try it. Again, I'm going ahead of myself, so don't panic if you don't know what list is. This is going to return apple. List of 1 is going to return, did I define banana or grape? Yeah, banana, yeah. Is going to return, list. List 1 of 1 is going to return banana. Right? Remember from this whole iterable discussion that we had, strings are iterables. You can iterate through every string one by one and access every element every element or every character of a string. So let me give you one last go ahead of myself one more time, and that is for this string one more time. str1 is first string. What if I want to access the very last character? You can access with index -1, right? str1 at index -1 is going to be g. All right, so you can start from beginning. You can go from index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on and so forth, or you can start from end and start from -1, -2, -3, -4, and so on and so forth. All right. All right, we are going to come back to that iterable discussion many times. It's a very elaborate discussion, but this was just scratching the surface. We talked about iterable. Let's talk about f strings. All right, f string or formatted string. This is one of the most important topics in okay, let me go all the way in our discussion in this course. All right, f string. Let me write that down. F strings, and I'm gonna change that to markdown, and there we go. Formatted f string stands. That f stands for formatted string, right? I'm gonna define a string. Let's say, you know what? Define a string test string test string, right? If I put a letter F at the beginning of it, this is going to be a formatted string. It's as simple as that, right? I'm going to give it a name. str10 is equal to that, right? Now I have defined a formatted string. Why formatted string is a thing? What is the point of it? Can I print that at least? Yeah, we can print that. print str10. There you go. Test string, right? And formatted string is going to help us a lot in displaying outputs the way we like them, right? I'm going to show you a couple of examples, and then there's going to be a whole discussion in your handout as well. All right, so I want to define two numbers and display the results of summation of them, or exponentiation, let's say, with print, right? So I'm gonna say num1 is equal to 3, num2 is equal to 2, all right, and result is equal to num1 to the power of num2, all right? So result, of course, is going to be num1, 3 to the power of 2, 9, all right? If I want to show this in a pretty way, you know what? Num1 to the power of num2 is equal to this number. One way is to use that comma that we use. I'm gonna do it, right? Print num1 to the power of num2 again is result. Now there is nothing wrong with this, right? The only thing is that because of increasing number of commas and these single quotations, it is possible to make mistake. All right, so let's see if there's any mistake here. No, 3 to the power of 2 is 9, right? There is a much nicer, cleaner, more Pythonic way of doing the same thing. All right, this is how we can do the same thing. I'm going to define one formatted string, f, to show just a name. All right, it's a formatted string. I'm going to write the whole thing right there, right? I'm going to say num1 to the power of num2 is result. All right. If I print to show, let's see what we are gonna get. says num1 to the power of num2 is result, right? But that is not what I want to get. I want to get 3. I want Python to put 3 in num1, 2 in num2, and 9 in result, right? I'm going to change that slightly, right? I'm going to say corrected to show. Corrected to show is, again, is a formatted string, right? Num1, it's the same thing. Let me copy it actually. Control C, Control V. All right. But wherever I want Python to take numbers and place actual values in those variables, I'm going to include them inside curly brackets. All right. Brackets, braces. Yeah, these two. All right. Num1 to the power of num2 is result. All right. And print corrected to show, right? Now what's going to happen is that Python is going to see these two curly braces, I believe. It is going to put the value of 3 here, value of 2 here, and 9 here, right? And 3 to the power of 2 is 9. This is a very first example of a formatted string. As you can see, there is no commas here. You don't have to deal with lots of these quotations open, close. It's just one quotation at the beginning, one quotation at the end, and wherever you want Python to take values and put numbers there, you're going to put them inside quotations. All right. There is one more example in your handout. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go over that, and that example has something to do with 1/3. All right. How you can display this number with a desired number of decimal points. Please check that in your handout. Let me see. I believe I've covered most of what I want to cover. There we go. F string or format string, I covered that. And then standard library. There are certain capabilities that Python has, and Python has stored them in a specific place called the standard library, right? There's a whole discussion in your handout about the standard library, but I'm going to show you just one of those capabilities. All right. Let's say you want to generate a random number. I'm going to say import random. All right, and print random data random. Right. It is going to generate a random number between 0 and 1. Right. If I run it one more time, it is going to generate another number. Oh, another number. Right. If I run it one more time, it's going to generate another number. Right. So this capability is stored somewhere called standard library. If I do not import a random module, so this random is a module, one part of that library. If I don't do that, I'm not going to be able to generate that random number, right? See, if I run this, because I've imported random before, it is not giving me error. But if I, give me a second, if I do it now, it's like, I don't know what random is because you haven't imported that yet. All right. Let me see. There are several different parts of the standard library that I have covered. Where is that? Here, date, time, decimal, math, OS, random, statistics, string. This math is going to be used a lot. All right. So let me see if import very quickly. I can show you one example. All right. Print math data pi, I believe. There we go, right? Pi is a number that you use quite a lot. But if you just write, what is value of pi, Python is going to say, I don't know what it is. But if you import math module from standard library of Python, math module has a number pi stored there. You can say, from math module, give me number pi. What else are we covering today? Object and class. Now, this topic is a little bit abstract. So if you are new to Python and especially coding, please do not feel bad if you don't follow this. All right. It is a little bit of an abstract subject, abstract, but I promise towards the end of semester, over time, you are gonna get a hold of it. It's gonna make a lot more sense. All right. Let me try to explain it. Um, but if you don't follow me 100%, it's okay. Python is known to be a object-oriented language. But what is that object? What is and a very closely connected concept is class. When I define my name is equal to this, all right? When I do that, what really happens is that Python creates an object with this value, all right, Naser, but it's a lot more than that. It's not just value Naser. It can perform certain tasks, all right, and that my name is just pointing towards that what is known object. Well, you can consider object as value plus functionality, all right. Let me show you what do I mean by that. My name, give me my name. It's going to be, that is the value, all right? But also that object of Naser can perform certain tasks. For example, my name dot upper, all right? That is a functionality. Let's see. It's going to convert everything to upper cases. Or if I say again, my name, all right? It's still the same value, but show me my name dot lower. It's going to convert everything to lower cases, right? You see that value that I defined right there, Naser, it's not just value. It comes with some capabilities, with some functionality. So if you combine value plus functionality, it becomes what is known as a object. Each object is from a certain class. All right, each object is from a certain class. How can I get class of a certain object? Is by type function. All right, at least for time being. What is type of my name? Say str. Str is one class in string is one class in Python, right? Let me see if this might help. All right. I said my name question mark, right? Let's see what we have. Type is str, string form is Naser, length is 5. We know the length function, and the str object is of type string. All right, the object is of type string. Create a new string object. So this is there's a whole explanation about that. My underscore name and related class. Let me show you one more. Let me see. Okay, so num1 is equal to 3.14. All right, and what is type of num1 is float. Float is another class in Python. Again, this concept of class and object, quite frankly, it takes time to get used to it. Over time, it is going to become more and more, you are going to become more and more comfortable with it, all right? It's not just you, everyone, it's a little bit difficult to grasp that concept. And we are going to finish this handout with some fancy methods or functionalities of specifically strings, all right? I'm going to copy all of this. Actually, I can copy these all the way to end. There we go, right here. Oh, this is not a code. This is a markdown. All right. String, we can use a function starts with, ends with, replace, split, join, and strip. These are among the very important functionalities or functions that come with the string class. Let me define one example and then practice these functions with that one example. I'm going to define str20 equal to my name is Naser. All right. str20 dot starts with m. So if str20 starts with m, this function is going to return true. If not, it is going to return false, which, because it starts with m, it is going to return true. Let's try one more. str20 dot starts with m. Python is case sensitive, so lowercase m is not the same as uppercase m, right? So if I run this, it's going to say false. In the same way, you can use ends with, right? str20 dot ends with Naser, right? Will this work? Because it ends with Naser, it will return true, not it should, it will return true, all right? It return true. We can do the same thing. str20 dot ends with er, all right? Well, yeah, that is also true. It ends with er as well, right there, er, right? This also is going to return true, all right? So we talked about the starts with, ends with, right? Let's talk about replace. str20, as the name suggests, you can replace something with something else in using this function. str20 dot replace old value. In this string, I'm going to replace all m's with n's, all right? M, comma, n. So my name is Naser. So they took that capital letter M and replaced it with the N, all right? It doesn't have to be just the beginning letter. Let's see one more example. str20 dot replace, let's see, something that is repeated more than once. Okay. A with AA. AAB, who cares? AAB10, right? AAB10 D, all right? And it's going to be a funky name. It's going to be a funky string, all right? We talked a little about starts with, ends with, replace, split. Split, as the name suggests, that it is going to split one string into smaller pieces, right? Let me look at str20. It's my name is Naser. So let's say str20 data split. Split is going to look at this string and it is going to split it based on white space. So it is going to give me a list inside square brackets. That first element is going to be my, second one is going to be name, third one is going to be is, last one is going to be Naser, all right? So let's see that my name is Naser. So we talked about the split. Let's talk about join. Roughly speaking, join is the opposite of split. You can split a string. You can also join elements of I'm covering bare minimums, all right? There's a whole discussion in your handout about these functions. So here is one example of using join. I'm gonna say, you know what? Dot join. Okay, so I'm going to define str30. All right, list 10 is equal to str20 dot split, right? Give me list 10. That's exactly what I did earlier, right? And then I'm gonna say dot join list 10. What this is gonna do, and I know this is one of the tricky functions or methods of string. What this is gonna do, it is going to look at list 10. List 10 has members of my name is Naser. It is going to combine them together but between every two elements, it is going to add one white space right there, one white space, all right? And it is going to return or show just one string. Let's run it. So if I do everything right, I'm going to get again, same thing right here. All right, let's do it. My name is Naser, all right? And strip is a very, very useful function that works very well with strings, and it removes it removes extra spaces from beginning and end of a string. So let me define one string. str, I'm running out of numbers here. str100 is equal to, all right, some white space, test, another white space, all right? And I'm gonna say str100 dot strip. What this is going to do, it is going to print same string, but without these extra spaces at the beginning and extra spaces at the end, all right? It's gonna say test. Why this is useful? This is very useful when it comes to reading content from file, usually from text. In text files, there is so much unnecessary white space, and this strip function can help us get rid of all of that, right? Again, I tried very hard to keep this video to bare minimums. Please make sure you read the handout, watch this video. I'm gonna post this file right away in your course website as well. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, take care, guys.